Alrighty lads, what's up? You're with Budget Monk and welcome to a new video. I wanted to just shoot a quick video on the topic of the Enlightenment institution. It's always nice to spawn institutions. In my run, I actually rushed reform progress really quickly, but if that is not the case, the reform progress from spawning an institution can be really nice even in the late game, as well as of course the monarch points can be absolutely incredibly valuable. And in the past, I've had quite some difficulty spawning the Enlightenment due to the limitations here. If we read what is required, of course it occurs on 1700 or later, but the other institution manufacturer has to have been discovered. But also you'll see that there's a province name here which I can't really pronounce, Mogantiacum, which I'm sure I mispronounced. I just happen to know that that is the province of Milan, obviously a Latinified name here, a Roman name. I believe it is quite a historical city, actually, even under that name, but regardless, it's quite famous, is what I mean to say. The point is, why? Why does it say requirements associated with that province is connected to the capital of the Roman Empire? So that means that it needs to have a direct land bridge, for example, which we do not have fulfilled. Well, the reason why it pulls out that specific province is because it is the highest development. So it's just like in many things in EU4, it's just one of those things you have to know. Your highest development province has to be number one, if you read, stated, and number two, connected by a land bridge to your capital city. Now, this can actually be a bit of a limitation due to the fact that number one, you might not want it to be in a state, it might be in a trading company. And if you unstate an area, remember, then all of the investments that you've invested into your trading company might actually disappear, right? And be wiped out. So that's one downside, not that big of a deal in the late game, particularly because you'll be rich. But another limitation is, of course, in our case, you can see this is in Queensland, our capital city. And the reason why is because, for example, the second greatest power is Brazil. This gives me the ability to actually attack, just like we're at war with right now on a game lag, because I opened up a peace deal in the late game, my bad. We're actually at war with Australia and Brazil without being at war with the overlord, which is Brazil themselves. And I plan to actually, you can see he only has 85k regiments here. I plan to attack one individual colonial nation under Brazil at a time, which actually avoids the overlord Brazil, due to the fact that we are considered a colonial nation now with our capital based out of Australia. So, yes, this is real, guys. That's how long it takes to open peace deals here. Absolutely cringe. But you can see an example, Brazilian Colombia. No overlord joins because we are considered a New World nation. Very powerful in of itself in the late game. In my case, I don't want my own New World regions to form colonial nations because we're working on a one culture, okay? So that's reasons as to why you might want your capital out here, somewhere in the New World, which therefore your highest development province isn't connected to. Now, this is also, remember that we're trying to spawn this, so another nation may also spawn this, but I have had trouble with this in the past, and when you are going wide, such as we are, we're eliminating nations, you're preventing the likelihood that they will actually spawn it, right? But I will throw that out there that if you're playing tall, it's going to be less likely. Anyway, I have a very nice solution, and it's quite a simple solution, but it's due to the fact of essentially the mechanics that are in the game nowadays. I will remind you that these technologies, they give you development efficiency in the late game. So in my case, I simply have 5% here. We have an edict, but due to it being the late game, it's fairly cheap here at 30 to dev. And all you're going to want to do is go to your target province, which will actually be listed for you. In our case is Lombardy, which is not stated. Most of our stuff it's territories in the colonial regions or trading companies. And we're just simply going to concentrate development. So you can see how much development that's actually going to move. Obviously, Milan is huge, but so are the neighboring provinces. And that is an insane 26 dev, which is going to be relocated to my capital. And most likely, if you do that, then your capital will be your largest province, which is going to fulfill the state requirement. And it's basically we just griefed our previously large nation, right? Our previously large province, tore it down to size, which isn't ideal necessarily, but that's an effective way to do it as opposed to doing this, which would only do it one at a time, that sort of thing. And rest assured, you can just come here and check. Does it not say another province? Let's say hypothetically that Paris was now my largest. Well, we could do the same here. It's going to get less and less efficient, but it's a good way to basically burn those regions. And you can see that we can bring in another, what is that, 12 development or so over to our capital. So just something that I learned here, guys, with the new mechanics, in the game, at least new to me. There's so many mechanics in this game, but it's just a nice, easy way to increase the likelihood here and fulfill the requirements. Basically, just going to your highest development provinces and ensuring that you relocate that development over to your capital to make sure you have fulfilled the requirements to spawn the Enlightenment. And in my case, like I said, as we go wide and eliminate other nations, it should be quite statistically likely that we achieve that, which is good, primarily because I need all the Diplo points I can possibly obtain, to achieve our one culture. So I hope you learned something. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in another video.